Hello there everyone and welcome back. I'm having my fun with the Drukhari so far and I feel like I did not do them justice. Sure, I made some terrible mistakes and a little bit of indecision or the wrong decision, wrong choice in my Space Marine matchup. Since I kind of got a little tunnel vision when I could have just played it a little more cautious, harassed the battle barge, and I could have won that match relatively well, never mind the fact that I did lose one of my cruisers in the very offset of that match, almost for free. So to be able to be in that dominating position, only to screw it up, does accommodate, or at least display the possibility of this fleet doing work, so long as they don't have the beacons or the frigates to kind of constantly keep vision on me. And Space Marines do have ways to keep vision, on top of the Imperial Navy in general, with that Emperor's Tarot. A little inconvenient, but it's something we're going to have to work around regardless. But nonetheless, I'm going to continue on with this, at least one more try, one more video's worth, just to see if I, again, can do this fleet justice. Since it seems like we almost never face off against Drukhari anymore, and when we do, it's almost exclusively the Impaler type of fleets. And while I'm happy to see the Impalers utilized, back when it was only the Impalers and not the Obsidian, which one is it? The Iron Thorn, to kind of serve as that screen, they were incredibly easy to deal with if you had any kind of carrier ship, or maybe just the mobility and point defense to just shoot down the Impalers. So it's not really my kind of thing, but the only theme I'm kind of seeing is that carrier type fleets are not really my thing. Although, I'm going to try and make the endeavor to change that, especially if I play with the merchant fleet more in the future. Alright, so the theme of face-off against Tau may continue here, although we are face-off against Asigos, who was the Corsair Voidstalker player if I remember correctly. So it remains to be seen what they're going to utilize this time around. It still goes without saying that I am very uncomfortable for this type of matchup just because of how easy it should be for my Tau opponent to just constantly put pressure on me and basically do damage freely while chasing me. That's going to be the real trick there. Although, with what I learned, possibly with the stasis bomb, I can avoid at least the secret missiles to an extent, since the stasis bomb can give me the essential time to get out of range of the frigates, maybe the scanner pulses, so that maybe I can reconceal myself before secret missiles get to me. And since the fighters go notably slower than the secret missiles, even if that doesn't work out, if I can at least stall long enough and be far enough away, then maybe my point defense can just shoot down the secret missiles with the fighters not able to screen for them. That would be a nice benefit as well. Otherwise, how do I do have the cruisers concealed, but there's no way to hide the frigates at all, outside making this look like the traditional type of fleet maybe. And even then, will these be able to conceal themselves in time out in the gas cloud? Who knows? That's something I haven't really bothered to pay attention to, how quickly the shadow field actually charges up. Otherwise, I would like to actually have the spear crystal lenses kind of to deny the shield recharge, since I'm not expecting torpedoes to do a lot, truth be told. I'm going to switch that and experiment with it some, as much as I don't really like the upgrade, essentially. But so far we're dealing with what looks like 3 cruisers and a custodian. And probably a demiurge at the same time, if our match with Fulpez, I believe, was any indication. So they're all concealed there. And they all have a mission dissipator, that's something important to note too.
What is your wish?
Alright.
If it please you.
You have seized a strategic area. The enemy has
I'm just
seized a
wondering how I
strategic
want to
area.
pursue this. I'm a little because if I go on the left, I can get pincered down really well.
We shall flay them all.
And I don't think I'm going to get to do a whole lot of damage.
We bring death.
I'm a little bit worried about grabbing that point on the left. Because again, I talked about how relentless they can pursue me.
Agree.
And
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
alright. there's a Castellan on top of the three regular frigates, keep in mind too. So trying to shoot these down is going to be tricky. But I can dodge these seeker missiles relatively well. Or not seeker missiles, but the railguns well. Since we just... Excuse me there. We just burnt 3 of their scanner pulses for almost for nothing. What I need to do is actually be able to do damage now for it to pay off. And damn it, this is something I'm doing terrible at again. More scanner pulses, please. Although, I don't think this is going to work as much as I like. All the frigates. Sadly, the frigates are not going to be able to do what's necessary here. Especially since they're not doing a good job killing these. But that's a lot of frigates, needless to say. No. I'm messing up on my controls so badly here. It's a bit of disappointing. This is my own undoing. I don't really have much better excuse for this. But I can, if A long enough, to hopefully make this work out. And I have been scanner pulsed, so that's important to note here too. I could kill... if I could kill some of these frigates off, that helps a ton.
You have seized a strategic area.
And meanwhile, let's keep an eye out for the possibility of these seeker missiles. That's the only main thing I'm afraid of there. Although, it would have been nice if I got that kill. So we should be able to damage that in a moment. I'm hitting. I'm again messing up with my control. I have no excuse for that, alas, but killing these is going to be nice, at least.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
Sadly, they did boost, but can we at least do damage necessary there? I did boost away. I shoot... Yeah, the seeker missiles should be shot down relatively well. I am braced for impact. And a handful of the frigates are dead, and hell, we could do a bunch of damage to these cruisers. I should be able to deal with these seeker missiles, maybe. Can we minimize the damage here? I don't think I'm going to be able to boost in time, though. Come on, boost. Ah, dang it. It was 1 second off from boosting, too. I am getting the shots off, at least. But definitely sloppy on my part so far. Let's at least make up for this some. Get the critical hits as necessary. And try grabbing these points at the same time. Because there are still, was it 3 frigates left? I want to kill off the frigates. That'll make my life a lot easier and I can fight with a little more confidence. I see, but it's not looking promising so far there. That was pretty damn abysmal. But I can grab the objective easily enough. Now, I would like to board you, but I don't think I'm going to get it. So let's instead focus on killing this ship off. And I have 30 seconds until seeker missiles come by. Can we finish this off? since I don't think we killed much of the Castellans just yet.
We shall slay them all.
Nope, we're not killing. We're not doing much of anything as far as killing these things off, sadly. Not in the slice.
We've lost an escort. We move.
You have
Yeah, this is just a case of way too many frigates than kind of normal. And I think I can boost those. I don't know if I was scanner pulsed with my... And apparently I was scanner pulsed here, so...
What aids the cabal? Let's the engines scream.
Yeah, I'm just being meted a little bit, and damn it, the timing on those the stasis bomb on those things is kind of badly... Definitely inconvenient.
Slay them all. Repels. No.
Because normally, like I said with this... Why aren't you moving there?
What is your wish?
Oh yeah, I told it to try and engage the ship, or at least
The cabal is
try and kill off the frigate to no avail, even though it's in brace for impact stance right now.
preparing for new
So this will allow me to conceal myself. Generators will be up in about 60 seconds, but it's going to be too little too late then.
with all
And I'm probably going to lose just due to the ejector possibly.
repairs. Now.
More than likely anyway, I need to spot these frigates, which now I don't have the fission anymore. Is a bit of the problem there.
We move.
Although, I know where the frigates are at least, so that helps.
I see slaves to be claimed. I cannot. Fear our onset.
It would have been nice if those seeker missiles actually hit the frigate, but sadly, this ship is dead.
If it please
More frigates than I kind of would have ever expected, if truth be told, but... And let's see. Generator's not up yet for the ship. And now for the sake of morale, I'm going to have to use encouraging speech to kind of get these going.
fear our onset.
Just too many frigates is a bit of the problem. Hell, I should be able to maybe just grab the points behind them now and force them out of the gas cloud, technically. Hoping that's all. Nope, there's still frigates around. There's still frigates abound, so we're gonna have to deal with these. It definitely feels like it's been metagamed a bit, since normally the theme has always been a lack of frigates, not so much extra amounts of frigates. But only chance we have to really do anything, even though it's kind of too late now. Just the sheer amount of frigates is a little ridiculous. And I got overwhelmed, never mind, messed up on my control abysmally. All these pausing made it too really easy for me to give away where I was at.
Our walls ran with blood.
I'm not happy with that. And sadly, my flagship was nowhere nearby to contribute in shooting down all these frigates either. If it was 6 frigates, or not 6 frigates, but the 6 cruiser fleet, my life would be so much more easier just because they would only have 2 Castellans. Would they even as... Well, either way, it would be 2 frigates for that fleet. And that is so much more manageable. Alright, so we're gonna have ourselves a matchup against Space Marines, oddly enough. Well, I don't know why I'm saying oddly enough. We're facing off against Saracen as well, which I know was playing Tyranids before. I don't know what other factions they primarily play it as, but I only remember the Tyranid matchups when I was playing Aziani. Although, it remains to be seen what kind of fleet they're utilizing, but I'm going to maybe assume the 6 strike cruisers possibly. And if they have any carrier ships, then they don't, if I remember my points, they don't have any frigates that way. Which should work incredibly well for me, I want to argue. I don't have the convenience of hiding my fleet though, which is always a bit of a downside here. Unless I want to sit in this asteroid belt and never move for the rest of the game. That would be a great way to fool them. Just put half my fleet somewhere completely useless. And maybe my opponent might chase me down and fly right into their torpedoes. I guess the argument there is because of the map layout. I suppose I could see that there. And if that's true, well, then we're just going... Let's see. They're saying can grab these 2 points here, and then... These are relatively secure as well as these 2 points. It's getting the 3rd point to kind of force an engagement in Saracen's favor, is what it looks like. If I had to guess... Although I get no concealment points, and asteroid belts aren't all that helpful either, but... This looks like what it seems to be. So again, it comes down to whether there's a carrier ship in this fleet or not. That I am unsure of.
You have seized a strategic area.
So we're gonna have to try and reveal them and find out firsthand, I suppose.
We shall flay them all.
I can at least grab this point quickly enough. I think we'll start on that and see what kind of maneuvers Saracen does for this one. I should be able to easily grab this though before the beacon gets to me. And it's here, yeah, I do get 3 points relatively well. I just gotta be able to jump on the points just as Saracen maybe decides to make a move for these ones.
You have seized a strategic area.
There.
What aids the cabal?
No, stop moving like that. I want you spread out and not narrowing up, if you could please. Okay, so this tells me no frigates at all.
What is your wish?
So that's pretty convenient on my part, some. Now we just gotta do damage and that starts to stick.
They will scream
Easier,
our praises.
easier said than done.
What aids
But I do have the range to help some. And actually, let's set priority to help with this a little bit too. Which apparently is not prioritizing the best.
cabal is all. Coming about. We bring death.
The enemy has
frigates are
seized a
failing again.
strategic area.
This seems to be a constant thing, but...
Cease fire. Savor their dread.
And sadly, I can't do the damage I want, but... I can start doing damage on the flank. I do have potential range.
We move.
I just gotta be mindful for when Saracen decides to get aggressive, though.
Fear our onset.
You have
And again,
seized a
no frigates to
strategic
worry about,
area.
so just gotta play a slow and steady route. And get what free damage we can.
Scream. How may I
Alright.
serve? Engines to overload. With
Let's
all
see if we can
speed.
make this work some. Although, this is gonna launch fighters, so... Gotta keep that in mind.
We bring death.
Or at least now that they're recalled, they're gonna be launched in a moment.
Fear our onset.
Oh, and I didn't realize I took out the shields there.
We shall flay them all.
Although again, if this is the one I prioritize, yeah, the lances are not cooperating the best.
Engines to overload.
Which is a little annoying to say the least.
How may I serve? If it please.
And actually, I shouldn't be too terrified of the fighters if they're not going to engage me.
What is your wish?
You know, well, that actually does remember the amount of progress I made on the objectives, so that's not too bad yet. Just gotta get these moving and, again, try for some of the free damage.
With all speed.
And be mindful, well, the fighters have already been recalled.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
The cabal is all. With all speed. How may I serve?
You have seized a strategic area.
At the engines.
So these frigates are likely gonna get spotted,
What aids
which isn't a big deal. Oh, you got 2 carrier ships, interestingly enough. Okay.
we bring death? What is your wish?
So this gives me a little bit of hull damage to... Yeah, Beacon's gonna spot me. Just gonna... The frigates aren't all that important as far as, like, vision, though. That's the main thing I got going for me.
Engines to overload! We shall flay them all! How may I serve?
Now, can we make this work?
Onset! We shall flay them all!
Because they're going after me,
To overload!
which is fine for now. I can recall.
We move! Make repairs! We strike anew!
Yeah, that's unfortunate. They decide to boost as I do a false maneuver.
The cabal is all! Let the engines
Now, can we do the damage necessary? I have engines prioritized, but that won't do much for the time being.
read!
You have accumulated 25% of strategic points.
Okay, one engine's gone. We'll worry about you later.
The cabal! We bring death! What is your wish? If it please,
Now let's punish these. Oh, because I kind of been forgetting about my boarding a little bit.
we shall flay them all!
Now again, doing a terrible job with my control here.
We shall flay them all!
Oh, and the engines are destroyed. That's gonna hurt a lot.
Raider destroyed!
The enemy has accumulated 25%.
That is
of
gonna hurt a
strategic
ton.
points.
We bring
But I am invisible, so that gives me a little more breathing room,
They will scream our praises!
if only slightly.
Fear our onset! With all speed!
It's gonna be a little bit awkward having this ship here.
If it please you! Stay firm! Save a little.
Sadly, the flagship's about to die, but
We move!
maybe we can kill off this flagship as a bonus.
How may I serve? We bring death!
Torpedoes are gonna hit,
We shall flay them all!
and we still have 3 objectives. Let's keep that in mind too.
Strategic points.
And I could have just rallied. That would actually have been pretty useful here. Because it would have denied that mutiny attempt that just happened.
Agreed! What is your wish?
That is unfortunate too.
We shall flay them all!
It was looking so promising too, and now it's fallen apart. To an extent.
The cabal is all!
And I still have the potential lead, but
Please you!
these ships don't have the durability anymore, and why?
Savor their
Yeah, these ships don't have the durability anymore, alas.
How may I serve?
It was looking really good up to that point too.
The enemy has accumulated
The one brief period where I
50%
boosted
strategic
away
points.
a little too early gave Saracen so much breathing room.
Action complete!
Well.
Use taken!
It was working incredibly well up to that point too. It just seems really damn awkward when I do destroy the engines. I'm kind of flying into that ship if I'm going to try and prioritize the other ones to kind of ease up the pressure on my flagship. It was definitely odd, and of course losing the engines, while the repairs weren't available, also hurt a ton too for trying to get away with said flagship. Which at least is the one benefit of the lances on those ships. At least for that Space Marine fleet. Alright, so this might suck. It might suck. Sure, we've been on the opposite end of the spectrum here, but I do still have the convenience of my mobility and my stealth. I just gonna have to play, well, just as cautious as I have been so far with all my Drukhari matchups. And it remains to be seen what my opponent's even utilizing for a fleet, since the frigates are... I realistically should not expect them to use frigates, but if it's... I don't recognize the name. Shiner, maybe I do recognize them. I just can't remember from where, if I were to be serious. So if they understand at least the value of the frigates compared to at least the Corsairs I kind of gave bit of a description why I dislike the Aziani frigates, and especially when comparing them with the Helibor or the Hellbor. That's the main reason. So much less firepower, a lot more fragile, and all they get is the additional armor, which is 67. And with the 200 health, that alone doesn't justify at least taking these frigates. But you do need them to some extent, I suppose. It's just a question of what you're willing to sacrifice, and in the case of Aziani, there's not really a lot to work with, since the light cruiser also not really all that practical, or at least don't seem to be that practical. It somehow has been working for when I played with the Aziani. Somehow. Don't ask me how I know. Don't ask me how the hell that worked. But it seems like it's been beneficial. Just not on... I just don't expect the torpedoes to do a whole lot of damage, since it only has one charge and it shoots only 4 torpedoes, as opposed to the 8 that the cruisers have. Oh, and I could utilize this too, couldn't I? Yeah, let's flip this around on its head some. Battleship goes over here. These ships are going to be over here. I could hide all the ships potentially. Not a ridiculous idea. But we'll stick with this for now. Maybe make this look believable, as at least slightly more believable. Splinter torpedoes would be amazing, but we need spear crystal lenses, and for when we get in the thick of it, ramming might be warranted. Oh, we ran out of time, so I'm not going to be able to contemplate further. I've been monologuing so much, and what does this tell me? Just the usual 2 Phoenixes and 2 cruisers, if I had to guess. So I'm willing to change my priority to engines when we figure out which ones are the cruisers.
The enemy has seized a
Thankfully,
strategic area.
the battleship is going to be out of the way. It could do some free damage early on. And actually, let's just have one of these frigates spot. Because with these Shadow Lances, I actually do have better range than at least the majority of their fleet. Just may not be much. Am I looking at that right? That's a light cruiser, I believe. Okay. So I don't know what to expect out of this fleet then. Because all the things I've been talking about are out the window now. And that was a dump. I was hoping I selected only that ship, but you are invisible. Now, let's get you in your own damn group. That might help some. It is only a frigate, though. Now, can I do damage? Because apparently, yeah, it is a little more of a traditional fleet, just not much of one. And I do have the scanner pulses. Now let's try and make this work, because the last thing I want is a direct confrontation. And I don't... Oh, we got the generator, so... That doesn't help me a whole lot if I can't benefit off it, though. Ah, damn it. This is why I'm probably failing Drukhari. I just can't pay attention to the move orders the best. It's gonna cost me terribly. But the Phoenix has taken an amazing amount of damage so far. And I didn't actually grab this point. I'm pretty certain I had the flagship grab this point. As silly as it seems there on that front. Alright. So let's see if we can punish this some. Separate and conquer. Because now that the fleet's separated, we can do a lot of damage here in a hurry. I think that was a worthwhile trade. 1 cruiser for a Phoenix. And I did get boarding on
So much pain.
the light cruiser as well.
Sweet terror.
You have seized a strategic area.
Agreed.
I'm just surprised this thing's not solid running right now, which I'm a little bit shocked by, but
We move.
although I'm messing up on control yet again.
The cabal. We bring death. The cabal is all.
Let's get everything out of here. And I am honestly curious what happens with the disruption overcharge. Does it deny me my shadow field?
Them all.
I'm watching this intently. No, it does not.
Please you.
That's what I thought, and that was part of the reason why I was caught completely off guard with the
I serve.
disruption overcharge that Space Marine had in the last video.
You have accumulated 25% of
But
strategic
we're in good shape
points.
now.
Coming about.
And that conveniently slowed them down nicely. I just should have boarded. I was in too much of a panic to think about boarding.
The enemy has accumulated 25% of strategic points.
Agreed.
And now this is going to be a case where I'm gonna get myself in a lot of trouble here if I'm not careful. So this needs to die quickly.
Fear our onset.
I have the health, but do I have the morale potential?
We bring death. With all speed. What is your wish?
And actually, this will be really nice if I kill both these phoenixes.
The enemy has accumulated 50% of strategic points.
Sadly, it was not meant to be, but the deck is going on the flagship, which this isn't over yet. This is definitely not over yet.
Agreed.
And Mutiny's gone there, but no deck destruction. But the generator's gone. I can still win this. I just have terrible morale.
How may I serve? We move.
So let's be cautious of that.
What is your wish? Let the engines scream.
And the last thing I want was to kind of ram myself too.
What is your wish? We move. Escort Raider destroy.
Well, we won. We won in what felt in a nice solid fashion, which I don't think makes up for my terrible display in my last two matches. But it's an unexpected win, so I should be happy, right? Alright, another matchup against Tau Protector Fleet. This looks like maybe an opponent, a lower level opponent, at least one I'm definitely not familiar with. So it's an opportunity to kind of redeem myself, because that was abysmal with the last Protector match, I'm not gonna lie. Although, the awkwardness of having to deal with so many frigates definitely makes it a lot harder for me. Although, what is it, with only 3 Protectors and Custodian, firepower is definitely a lot harder to manage to a limited extent. Although, I'm trying to remember what my Custodian Protector fleet was. Although, I think it wasn't Protectors, it was mostly Sauces I was using. And just sticking with the 3 Wardens, if I'm remembering my time with the Protectors was any indication. Honestly, I can't remember. I'm pretty certain with Sauces that then I ultimately did give up to just go with the 6 cruiser fleet. At least it's something a lot more simplified. Otherwise, we have no... well, there is a gas cloud here, not much of one. So that strategy is out the window. And I think I'm just going to have my flagship here, and I should deploy the frigates where I expect them to deploy, which is almost a given right here. So that doesn't really adjust where I'm going to put my frigates at all, if truth be told. So there's no element of surprise here. We're just going to try and grab these points as quickly as possible. and then work from there. And if I... it's still a question, do I go with Disrupt the Spear Crystals again? Since the sheer amount of fighters they do have access to means my torpedoes are almost never going to do damage. Unless they're isolated, in which case I'm probably going to be able to very comfortably get the shot I want, since if they're trying to come at me, then they have such a wide arc or wide shape to their ships that I don't really need to aim my torpedoes on their prow. Otherwise, let's get this started. Just need to wait for my opponent to ready up at this point. Otherwise, I don't know what else to say. Although we have a hidden fleet, which probably means they're in the gas cloud. Let's not kid ourselves. And the beacon's gonna basically confirm that. It remains to be seen what kind of fleet it is, and also where's the beacon going. I kind of like going right more.
You have seized a strategic area.
At least that way I have the middle of the map to kind of maneuver freely. I just want to make sure I did not hit the celestial body. And I could conveniently grab these other points as a bonus. Okay, so this is more of a well-rounded type of fleet. And if I'm understanding correctly, that's a Bor... Is that the Borkon or the Daylif? That's the carrier Sauce. Or carrier emissary. I keep calling him...
The enemy has
When I see a light
strategic
cruiser, I
area.
basically think it's just the Sauce, the one without the gravitic hooks. Although, that also means we have the awkwardness of dealing with 5 frigates at the very least.
You have seized a strategic area.
And I need to somehow get my flagship to be able to snipe these frigates down. Help snipe them down for me at least. Which is going to be easier said than done. But on the plus side, since they're using custodians, yeah, they only have 6 fighter squadrons as opposed to this, the 3 anyway. So their vision that they can use is a lot more restricted. And we know where they're at, because they can't really fool us the best. I just do not want this thing caught completely off guard. Because there are frigates about after all. It's just because I don't see the fighters, I know where they're at. There's one in the gas cloud here, there's the Sauce or the Borkon
You have seized
has that.
a strategic
This
area.
battleship's in a terrible spot right now. It's kind of pinned there until its beacon goes away.
What is your wish?
Which again, I'm doing a terrible job. Oh god. Are these revealed? Yeah, they're revealed. It's not a big deal, I suppose, since I just literally captured the point.
We move.
And is it possible I can go through this narrow point? Since, in this situation,
We shall flay them.
the world is kind of my oyster right now if my opponent's just gonna let me have 3 objectives. It's kind of part of the failing on what I did against Saracen, but let's try to make this interesting somehow.
With all speed.
That's going to be the hard part, though. Keep it interesting without getting myself killed. And we know where that scanner pulse was for. It was to kind of check, see if there was anything hidden, ready to ambush. And again, there are like 5 of these frigates, so let's not get too carried away here.
What is your wish? Agreed. I see slaves to be claimed.
I can take these hits pretty well, I just gotta actually kill these things for it to actually matter. Now, of course, I messed up again.
We bring death.
And that is a lot of goddamn frigates.
Cabal is all.
At least now I know where everything's at. To my misfortune.
We move.
And where's that beacon going? Just pursuing my fleet.
With all speed.
And I can dodge these railguns decently if I can just zigzag. And again,
Onset.
waypoints are failing me.
We shall slay them all.
And Shadowlance, you are doing a terrible job focusing on the one I want. But I can at least get a couple free shots, although again, the Shadowlance is not hitting what I want, despite my best attempts to prioritize.
If it please you. Coming about. Fear our onset.
You have accumulated 25% of strategic points. The enemy has seized a strategic area.
So I don't quite have the extended range anymore, alas, but can we make this damage work somehow? Because this is definitely going to be the more difficult thing I'm going to have to figure out. Just trying to be able to prioritize these ships. Well, that's a little excessive, but the Wraithbone shift is going to allow me to dodge these really well.
Aids the cabal. Let the engines
Now, if I can get behind the Celestial Body, that helps a ton with dealing with this.
shall flay them all. If it please you. What is your wish?
Can I? Well, there's not a lot of them so far, so I can deal with some of them decently enough. And so far there's what, 2 sauces? Can we make this damage stick? Can this damage matter before we get screwed over horribly by this? Because we have a mountain of frigates and... Oh, come on. I don't want you to ram yourselves, ideally.
What aids the cabal?
Gonna be tricky to do, but...
We move. I want first blood.
Now, where is the flagship?
All speed. What aids the cabal?
Yeah, that was bad torpedo shot at least, but...
How may I serve? Unleash the dark. Let the engines.
And I still got a healthy lead on the objective front still.
The cabal is all.
Although Scanner Pulse did hit 2 of my cruisers.
Cease fire. Savor their trade.
Now let's actually start killing these frigates since it's going to be really important, although
Let the engines
I'm going to be running out of vision really damn quickly here.
remove. Fear our onset.
Although let's see, your engine's gone and it's gone for about 50 seconds, so
We've taken down their transport.
The enemy has accumulated
Let's kill these things
25%
quickly then.
strategic points.
Let the engines scream.
let's see if this actually...
Us.
No, the generator's also gone, so that thing's all sorts of screwed.
We move.
So let's finish off, let's kill these damn frigates. Although that's about to die no matter what.
Make repairs. We strike anew. The cabal.
20 seconds, actually, I think I can protect this some.
Brace, brace.
I have brace for impact and I have 2 cruisers that have point defense still. All I have to do is prolong its demise.
If it please you. Agreed.
Now,
Coming about.
okay, that's probably dead.
Fear our
It's on fire anyway, but Scanner Pulse is giving the essential vision right now.
repairs. Now.
And this is still taking the hits.
Engines to overload.
Although now, well, we know where the Custodian's at.
Preparing for new strike.
I'm gonna get revealed here. Let's just not get these things stuck. Because important thing to note is that all their fighters have just been launched. So my torpedoes might be able to do something here. Nope. But their weaponry is giving away what their plan is.
How may I?
On the plus side, it protects the flagship,
We move.
which is never a terrible thing. And I have 3 objectives, keep that in mind too.
Scream.
keep that in goddamn mind. Although,
What aids the Cabal?
I wish one of these had the tracking senses to allow me vision. Nope.
What is your
I did not wish to click on the main map, but
with all speed?
if they're gonna boost, then I can shoot.
Speed.
Again, I have points lead. This is kind of what I was talking about. Oh, your engine's gone right now, so
What aids the Cabal?
it's going to be a little bit awkward, but they're light cruisers. They're easy to critically hit,
Coming about.
and I'll be revealed in a moment, sadly, but
We shall flame.
with the rate bone shift, that probably helps some. This is where I really am hesitant about, though.
Let the engines scream.
And thankfully, the missiles lost their lock there.
If it please you. The Cabal is all. I cannot. We move. I cannot.
Your engine... Oh, God.
So much pain.
Well, this ship is pretty much dead, so
Sweet terror.
let's at least take the ship out in style, maybe.
We shall
Yep, not meant to be.
agreed.
I still have a good point lead. I'm just gonna suffer mutiny in a moment.
So much sweet terror. How may I serve?
Yeah, that's gonna suffer mutiny. I have to
You
let me.
accumulated
I should. The
75%
deck's
of
destroyed.
strategic points.
So that is pretty much out of the fight. At least for now, but again, I still have the point lead. This ship's about to die,
Fear our onset.
and I could probably kill this thing off really well. Actually, the crew's about to die in that one ship too.
Coming about. We are in
If only I had thought to maybe fire the torpedoes, that would have been really nice right there.
the Cabal is all.
Well, that was convenient there.
Cabal is all.
We have ourselves a drifting Hulk. Temporarily, and I have no way to reactivate that ship, sadly, but this is looking like a victory. Again, a part of my predicament is trying to make this interesting, not boring at the same time. And even then, we are skirting on that line of brilliance, I want to argue, and total disaster just because of how fragile my fleet can be. So that's dead.
Close to victory by strategic points.
That was a lot of frigates to have to get through as well, and I don't even know how many of the frigates are still left with that all said. Although we are learning this Shadowlance is just as stubborn as the damn pulsars. At trying to prioritize targets, even when I reduce it down to priority 2 or something lower. So we'll see if that continues here. Yeah. I really need to understand how that works, because that can be fatal, especially with the Drukhari. And that's dead, this is game.
How may I serve?
No matter how it ends up, it's a victory. And I don't feel like that was too terrible. It's just trying to figure out the minute details. Or at least trying to find when I'm too close and when I could safely, or when I have to pull back. Ideally without the rate bone shift. Because I feel like that screwed me over horribly in my match against Saracen. Because I boosted away and then Saracen just turned around after my flagship, so there was so much distance I had to cover if I wanted those 3 cruisers to kind of keep shooting at the stern and ideally kill their engines. So a little unfortunate, but I want to believe there's something to this strategy that I'm at least utilizing. It's just a tightrope.